All right, James, let's kick this off, man. How are
I
you?
am good. I'm fine. On the first Monday of November.
First Monday in
Yeah.
November.
Daylight
Man,
saving time is gone, you know, back to being dark outside at some ungodly hour.
when you say first Monday of November, man, it makes me realize just how fast this year's gone by.
Yeah.
And I'm not a cold weather person. I don't like it getting dark early, so I'm gonna struggle, I think, for a couple weeks here.
Yeah. I'm not a cold weather person either. And, it started getting dark. I'm like, God, it's dark. What's that? It's 5 o'clock? No.
No, I know. Where are you based out of,
I'm
James?
in Virginia Beach now, Virginia. Where are
Okay,
you at?
cool. I'm out of Nashville,
Well,
Tennessee.
I was in Nashville a couple
Yeah.
couple months ago. You know Killer
Okay.
Nashville?
Yeah, Nashville's cool, man. Been here a couple years. Lived in Atlanta for a while, but yeah, we've made Nashville home. It gets dark. It gets dark. I think it gets dark the earliest here.
Yeah.
Atlanta used to be not so bad, but Nashville,
Oh, yeah, well,
man, it
you're
gets
you're
dark
further
so
you're
early.
further west now, so yeah,
Yeah, and I'm right on that. I'm right on that time zone line,
yeah.
and it's messes with me, man.
I go to Nashville every year. I do the Killer Nashville convention every year.
Okay, cool.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, man. Nashville's known for conventions. It's a good place to come, have fun, host a lot of people, a lot of places you can go to.
I
It's
haven't
a good
been down
good
Music
place.
Row yet. Every time I go,
Okay.
'cause the convention's in Franklin, which is,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
over.
Just south.
Yeah, and, I haven't got to Music Row. I think next year, and I keep saying this every year, but next year, I'm going down to Music Row.
You gotta make your way up at least
Yep.
sometime.
Gotta
Yeah,
hit the honky tonks.
that's right. Yeah, you gotta experience it at least once.
Yeah.
But well, James, man, it's a pleasure to talk with you and have you on the Books for Guys podcast. And I've got a couple of your books on the website. We got those up this weekend, and so if anybody's interested in going to purchase them, we've got links so they can. It takes them to where they can purchase them on Amazon or whatnot. But man, James, tell me a little bit about your story and just kind of how I don't know your background and what led to you becoming a writer.
Well, I started a long time ago. You could tell by all this.
I got a little gray with you. I got a little gray with
You
you.
can tell by all the gray. I started way back when I was a kid. I started writing. We used to read the comics, and then we would trace out the characters and everything and try to write our own comics. So I was the one who was, detailing out the stories. And I guess now they call it fan fiction. Back when I was a kid, it was just something to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I really got into writing. But I always had stories running in my head. I always had people running around inside me. I'm never alone. That's what I tell people. I'm never alone.
Yeah. Well, did you grow up you said writing, but, like, as a kid, were you a reader? Did you enjoy reading books and kind of? Because I know it seemed to be one or 2 things. Me, personally, I didn't really enjoy reading till later, around college, but I had friends I grew up with, and they loved reading, and they were very creative, and their minds worked differently than mine. But did you grow up a reader and a writer?
Yeah. I used to love reading. My mom used to read us all these classic books and stuff like that. And then I used to love to read and get into the fantasy and sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to sound like a nerd here, but spend time in the library. But that was for a different reason because I grew up in the
Yeah.
South Bronx in Fort Apache. The library was one of the places we can go and run into and hide out from the other gangs and stuff like that. And so I'm sitting in the library, I'm reading things like, Alexander battle plans and the Roman army and how they set up their battle plans. But, we had to survive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I read a little bit about your background. So yeah, you grew up in New York. Um, Sounds like, you were in an area that was pretty tough. You had to kind of figure out your own path. And while doing that, you did have this creativity going on to where you were reading and learning. So your books are interesting because they're not the genre that I typically pick up. But I am very intrigued. How did you come about creating the stories that you have so far?
Well, I create stories in all different genres. So I did.
Yeah, well, that's why they're so unique. I was like, I can't tell. Okay, is this? Is that? Is that? It's got everything in
Yeah,
it.
I run the gamut from sci-fi to crime story to fantasy. I'm working on horror. Anything that hits my mind that sounds good, Because sometimes I'll pick up a story from just watching something on the news, and they'll have like 2 minutes of some story that just came out, and I'm like, you know what? I bet you if this happened here, then and that's how stories just come. Sometimes it's a person,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a situation. Sometimes you start talking with your friends and they start shooting things back and forth, and the next thing you know, I'm off and you're running.
Yeah. So stories, it seems like stories kind of come natural to you then. You can create a scenario or a character and all of a sudden you can have a whole world and a whole story and foundation laid. I ask some people that write different types of books, does the writing process come hard to them? Is it easy? It sounds like for you, it's such an enjoyable thing that comes pretty naturally.
Yeah, yeah, it does, and the story comes pretty easy because I'll come up with a title and say, "Wow, that's a good title. I bet you I could make a good story out of that." Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Killer series, I'm pretty sure you had some of those up there. That came out of the idea that I grew up in the South Bronx and then moved up to mob territory. But, I had a whole different layout for the story because I'm a plotter. So, I plan all my stuff and I plotted this thing out for years, the 4 books. It wasn't until I got towards the end of the first book that I actually came up with what is now the title, Killer with a Heart. Because as
Wow.
I'm writing it, the characters are going back and forth. Mojo and Nikki are talking, and Nikki tells him, what's the line? Oh, the only thing worse than the thief with a conscience is a killer with a heart. And when I
Mm,
wrote that down, I go, whoa, hey, that should be the title.
yeah.
And then, from then on,
Wow.
everything became the Killer series. So, you know,
Yeah.
and that's how inspiration works, I guess. It's like lightning bolts, you're hit
Yeah.
by them and, you can't forget them.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And I love having these conversations because number one, I don't feel like I'm the most creative person. Like if someone asks me to create a story or say something, I'm very surface level for one reason or another. But I love hearing how other people think and how they create this character or this backstory and how you formulate it and bring it all together. Because I think it's an art to be able to have all these different things going on and to bring it into a book. Just it fascinates me how you do that. Does it take you a long time to write each book?
Books, yes. Novels, yes. It takes about a year or so. Like I said, it sometimes takes years just to plan it because before I write a single word, I have to have the whole thing planned out. And there have been some times when I planned these books for like 2 and 3 years, just having stories just rotate in my mind until I'm finally like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I got the whole thing now. Now I can start writing." And of course, when you write it, things change. But, I was always able to sit down and write. Even in school, when they would say, "You have to write a composition," they tell you, 500 words, 1,000 words, whatever, and I'll be like, "Yeah, okay, no problem." Then I'll write like 5,000 words.
Yeah, I was about to say they had to tell you to tone it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. And my ex-wife now, she used to want me to write her nurse's stuff for her, and I was like, "I can't write that. I know nothing about medicine. It'll be a
I can
nice
write what I
story, but
know.
it'll get you failed. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea what you're doing over here."
yeah. That's funny. That's me like, yeah, I can write, but I can only write what I'm thinking, not what you're
Yeah, I
doing.
can't fill in the facts for you. That's not beyond me. Now,
Yeah.
I'll write something, and when your teacher reads it, they'll be like and some of my teachers when they gave me assignments and stuff, and they read it, they were like, "Yeah, nice story, but yeah, where'd you get this from?" Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously you did not read the work before you wrote this.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it. You weren't wrong thing, wrong
Yeah.
topic. That's amazing. Where James, you obviously you do this for a living. You write and you produce these awesome works and books and novels. I guess as you said you get ideas from anywhere, but I mean, do you have your process, I guess is what I'm asking. Like when you think of something, do you pull out your iPhone and take quick notes, or do you sit down each day and block off time to just sit and think and write? Or what's your process when getting through the story?
Well, usually my process is while I'm sitting there doing dishes, I'm running through conversations. I used to keep notebooks and stuff like that. I used to do a lot of longhand writing, and I still do when it's a part of the story that I really want to get down. But usually, I'll write at night when I would have kids to take care of, all that kind of stuff. I would then sit down and start writing like about 12 o'clock at night. So I had the TV on. It would play in anime stuff because that was my timer. These things are like a half an hour. And I really wasn't into anime. So, the cartoons would run and I'm just sitting there writing. And then that was really my scheduled writing time would be between like 12 and 2. By 3 or 4, if
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to bed, they're gonna be miserable the next day when I have to go to work. So, it would
Yeah.
be running like a half hour, and then I started getting interested in the cartoons. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, crap, I can't keep these things on because now they're getting interesting." You start watching
Yeah.
Bebop and, this one and Naruto, and it was like, some of them stories were pretty good. I have to admit,
Yeah.
some of them were pretty good.
Yeah. It's funny how that works. You're talking about thinking of ideas and stuff while doing the dishes. It's kinda that selective hearing. It's funny, like, when my wife's talking to me, for some reason, I'm thinking of other things. Sometimes, like, really important things that just start coming up, and I'm like, "I need to write this down. Why am I thinking about this right now?" But, it's usually during those times where it kinda hits me the same way. I'm not sure, is that a guy thing? I don't
I don't
know.
know. Mowing grass is also a good time to come up with
Mowing
stuff. Yeah.
grass.
Yeah, it's out there pushing the lawnmower and then thinking, you know what? I guess this should happen next. And maybe if that happened, I'm also a programmer, computer programmer.
Okay.
And when I was used
Yeah.
to write programs, I don't do that much anymore. Now I'm a database administrator, so I really don't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. But so you've always been just, I'm gonna use the word technical, but, like, there's some correlation there, I'm sure, when you're doing, I don't know, writing and programming and just, like, a certain task, you're able to kinda get in your zone, and then you can let your mind wander
Yeah.
while you're doing those tasks, and so, I mean, just talking to you, I can tell that you're just, when you get off in what you're thinking, I could probably see it in you, like, James is thinking about something over there. He's got that blank stare where he's just
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
his own
you're up
world.
in space. Funny thing is, sometimes I'm thinking about stuff and I'm talking it out to myself. I'm having conversation between the characters, and I gotta remember, don't say this stuff out loud. People here, they'll be like, "Who are you talking to?" "Oh, no, I'm not talking to you." Because 'Cause they'll be like, "What? What
Yeah,
did you say?" Nothing,
yeah,
nothing. I wasn't talking to you." And then
yeah.
they'll be like,
You can read
"Yeah,
it in, 8
yeah.
months.
Well, who were you talking to then?" "Oh, never mind."
That's
Yeah,
funny.
but you slip
Did
off into
you
those zones, and sometimes
Yeah,
if it's really I'm working on something really good and I'm really down into it, yeah, I'll pull out the pen and paper and just scribble it down because I can't read my own handwriting either. So it's like, but I can't type as fast as I can think. So,
yeah,
I can't do it on the computer at some point. It's like, "Oh, these ideas are good. I gotta get them down." And, I'm trying to write this stuff down in my notebook. I got a bunch of notebooks over there and,
yeah.
yeah.
Do you do you write books, like, do you have goals that you've set out for yourself as far as, I don't know, writing so many books or accomplishing certain things, or is it simply just something that is a joy to you? Because I always ask authors too, and again, it depends on kind of the book, but it's like, do you write because you enjoy it, or are you writing because you're good at it, and so you feel a responsibility to have to write it and put your story out there for others to read?
Well, that's
So I always
interesting.
find that kind of unique.
Yeah, that's real interesting because it's a little bit of both, You write because you enjoy it. If you really enjoy writing, then yeah, you want to sit down and write, but you also want to have ideas that you want people to see and read. And so you also feel you have to get this information out or you have to get this story. And I write fiction, so it's not like I'm trying to teach you about computers or anything, but in that fiction, you'll learn something about computers or you'll learn something about crimes know, and things like that, or you worry about fantasies, magic or, whatever.
Yeah,
It's an idea that, yeah, not only do I enjoy writing it and enjoy the process of doing it, But I also feel like sometimes it's a morality type of thing. You want
Yeah.
people to feel or think this way. You want people to take a look at the world in a different aspect, you know. And
Yeah.
by putting these books out, because that's what you get when you read books. You read books, you realize, yeah, that's a different way of thinking. That's a different way of
Yeah.
seeing things. You know,
Yeah.
and so as a writer, you want to portray that or project those ideas also. So it's not
Yeah.
just, well, I just write a book just to write a book. I'm just telling the story. In some
Yeah.
cases, yeah, it is about telling the story, but also I would like people, like when I read a book, to sit back afterwards and say, I was interested. You know what I feel about this person or that idea or what happened in that situation? And that's what I guess all writers do that. We pour ourselves into there and we put ourselves
Yeah.
out there in the world. And that's why it hurts so much when someone comes back and tell you, that guy was full of crap. You're like, come on.
Well, yeah. No, and that's I like the way you phrase that about, you're trying to write something that you believe in or something that you like, and it again, that's kind of the whole purpose of Books for Guys. I know I've shared this before with most everyone who listens to this podcast, but opening up your mind a little bit, reading about something you don't typically read about, it truly does make you critically think in a different way than just looking on your social media or watching news, or it just, I don't know, it just gets you in a space to where you kind of start seeing things maybe from someone else's perspective, or you read something that you think I would never like, and then you read it and you're like, man, that was such a good book, I'm going to read a similar
Yeah.
book. But it's so important that just reading in general, and you do both, you read and write. No, I think that's important too, but just these conversations are good because I want specifically young guys to see someone like yourself who from New York, and you became a writer and you're writing books and enjoying and loving it. And so just, creating inspiration and motivation to read, but maybe pick up your book and just kind of, again, like you said, learn something or think in a different way than what they typically do on a daily basis.
Yeah. And for years, well, since I'm a computer programmer, there was about 10 or so years, maybe 15 years, that I was reading nothing but computer programming books. I wasn't reading for fun or, anything that wasn't related to computers and, learning the language. Because every time I go to a job, it's like, hey, you tell them, all right, I know this language, I know basic, I know this, I know this. And they say, hey, do you know that one? No, that wasn't on the list. And they said, well, can you learn it? How long would it take? And it's like, give me a couple of days, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I can learn it,
Yeah.
because it's the logic when you're doing programming and stuff, it's the logic that you have to know. The programming language, it doesn't really matter. It's the logic that matters. The other
Yeah.
stuff is like syntax. I would say it's like learning a foreign language, but I was terrible at foreign languages. I
Yeah.
was pretty bad at English. So when it came to French and Spanish, it was just horrible.
I'm trying to do as good as I can in my own
Yeah.
language. No, that's funny. Yeah, those technical manuals, that's a different type of reading too.
Yeah.
You gotta really be, it's like going to school. Like, you gotta learn it. There's really no option.
Yeah, I have books like that thick on, this language, and then you get to the next job and they want you to know Python or something. It's like, oh God, okay, what do you do in Python for this? Here it goes. Okay, I do that in Python. This is the syntax for that, and it's like just swapping out this for that, changing this
Yeah.
one, put that one in. But you have to learn it all because, like I said, it's almost the same as like learning foreign languages. You have to know what the structure is and all that kind of stuff. And, that was never really my forte.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I've been in the technical recruiting space for a long time, and seeing how fast new languages are created, new technologies are created, and it's people are just constantly trying to keep up with whatever programming language is just got created 3 months ago. Now everybody's in demand
Yep.
for it.
And that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that. No, I don't know that
Yeah.
language. I don't want to work for you.
No, I
Give
understand
me
that.
something I
I
already know.
understand that. Yeah, yeah. Well, James, I always ask everyone that comes on the podcast this question as well. What are some of your favorite books that have had either a personal or professional impact on yourself? And if anyone ever asks you for a book recommendation, what do you normally recommend?
Say you have to read A Clockwork Orange. The name of that other book? It's a Western.
Is it a fiction book?
These are old books.
Yeah.
it was the something affair or something like that. It's an old Western book. And then of course anything by Osmond, I Robot, or what's the name series, the Legend series, I think it was called by
Yeah.
Osmond. Uh
Yeah.
any sci-fi that you can put your hands on is really great. You know,
Yeah.
there's a couple of different books out there. Yeah. But the main one, read A Clockwork Orange, a recent author. Like it's a life story of Buddha. Read
Okay.
Siddhartha, read A
Okay.
Clockwork Orange. If you have the time, read see I have a hard time remembering things.
Hey, that's okay. So do you primarily it seems like your enjoyment is like sci-fi, fantasy. You read a lot of the type of books that you write.
Yeah, but I also read
Yeah.
other stuff. Lord of the Rings. If you have the
Lord of the
time,
Rings.
read Lord of the Rings. See, I went to
Those are
Catholic school.
such long
Yeah,
books.
I went to Catholic school, and we had to bring our Bible home with us every day. So the Bible was a big, thick, brown covered book. And, as you're going out the door, every now and then the priest will pull open your bag and look in there and see if you had your Bible. So the Lord of the Rings was this big, thick book with a brown cover to it. So I wasn't going home and doing religion homework. Forget that.
You
I
were
could
reading
BS
Lord
my
of the
way through it.
Rings.
And so I picked up I seen the Lord of the Rings, "Ooh, that looked just like the Bible book." So I picked that up, put it in my bag, and I'm carrying it back and forth to school, and then I hear Led Zeppelin ramble on, and he's singing about, um, Mordor and
Yeah.
Goluf. I like, "Wait a
Yeah.
second. Those are" 'cause I did read a little bit of it. I said, "Wait a second. That's from the Lord of the Rings. I think I gotta read that."
Yeah. That's a gr I've heard the books are incredible. I personally haven't read them yet. I've seen the
Yeah.
movies, obviously incredible. I've heard the books are even better if you sit down and
They are
take the time.
long, long, drawn out
Yeah.
book. Back in the day, that's how they wrote books. I mean, like 100,000 words, 200,000 words, describe, and especially Tolkien, because he's describing a tree for like 3 pages.
Yeah.
And, a forest, is the whole chapter on just the damn forest. It's like, oh, come on, man. It's a forest. So let's get going.
Yeah. I have read the book about is J.R. Tolkien with C.S. Lewis and their friendship.
Yeah.
I have read that book. I forgot what it was called, but I read that book a few years ago, and that was very interesting.
They did a movie on Tolkien. And that was real
Yeah, and
good.
I
It was
haven't
called
seen that.
Token.
It's pretty good?
Oh, yeah, that was really good because it tells you about what he went through in his life as he wrote those books and why he wrote them. you know? So,
Yeah.
it was really good. Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit was a good one too, you know? I got Cerulean up here on my thing, and I haven't read that yet. It's gonna have to be a time when,
Okay.
I got some time off or something, and I could just sit back in my beach chair and
Yeah.
my time reading because that's another one of those big, thick books that, with Tolkien, I mean, the descriptions and the way he writes is just so immersive. But like I said, you're going on 3 or 4 pages about a tree.
Yeah. Maybe you do those speed reading tactics where you kinda know what he's saying, you can move on to the next section, but no, you're right. Before we had, all these things that keep our attention, it's hard to read a book that long now. You gotta really focus on it.
Yeah, so
I
as a publisher, I tell people, don't write stories that are like 200,000 words because people aren't going to read it. They're going to be like, oh, wait a second. No, I don't have time for that. So now we have to pare things down, not because we want to make it simpler, but because people are time crunched. There's all these other things vying for your time and stuff like that. So people don't have the time to sit there and read unless you're really, really into it. Then people will sit down and read. But those people are becoming fewer and harder to find.
Yeah. No, they are, and I'm, hopeful that through Books for Guys, I can encourage individuals to take more time to read.
Yeah.
again, it's so important, just especially in this world, taking the time to sit down and read something and learn about something is just it's becoming more and more important. It's always been important, but it's even more important now. And even just for enjoyment, putting the screen away and getting lost in a world
Yeah, because it,
through a book. It's hard
right.
to explain how much fun it
Yeah,
is.
because as you're reading, you're putting yourself into the story. It's not like watching TV where it just or a movie where things are just fed to you. You know, you're reading, you're thinking about what you're reading. So, you become active. You become an active participant in the story. You know, you
That's
pick a
right.
character
Yeah.
that you want, and you're automatically thinking of, oh, what is he going to do next? Or what would I do in this situation? And so you become this active participant. Whereas if you're watching a movie, you can just sit there and, just watch it go past you, you know?
Yep.
It's just a whole
Yep.
different vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing better when you get into the meat of a story and you can't put the book down and you look forward to the next day when you can pick it back up. It's
Yeah.
just one of those feelings that's hard to explain, but when you get it, you're like, "Oh, this is a great book," and you can't wait to share it with others. Yeah. I love watching my wife read, and I like see her start to smile almost like she's just locked in.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing. She'll look over and be like, "That's a good book, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm way into this right now."
And it's a good thing that you're doing with the Books for Guys, because, it's always been, women are readers, and stuff like that. But guys like to read too.
That's right.
And it's good to expose them and let them know it is a good thing to do.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, we were joking. I was talking with someone earlier, and how Books for Guys all came about is, I was meeting with a leader in another company. We were joking that the ladies have the wine and the book clubs and the book meetings and the get-togethers, and we were like, there's not a place for the guys to go talk about a good book and to share a good book and have a bourbon and book night. It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
But hopefully this can make that a possibility, and again, trying to encourage young guys to do the same thing, or at an earlier age than myself, because I read a lot of books, in my mid and late 20s, and I wish I'd have read those when I was 18 because I learned so much. I could have applied some of those lessons and learned a thing or two and probably been more successful at certain things in my life earlier.
Yeah.
And I tell kids too, if you want to be the best pro basketball player, well, Kobe Bryant's got a book out there. You can learn how to be Kobe Bryant. If you want to build a business and be a millionaire by 30, there's blueprints. It's books. You can go learn how people did it. Uh, so there's so many things. If you want to accomplish something in life, or if you're going through something tough, somebody's written about it that you can go learn about. How they got through it or how they pursued this and the work that it took to get there. And that's what we're trying to do, James, is just encourage guys to pick up more books and just learn more and open their minds up.
Yeah. When people ask what's the most important invention ever created, it was the printing press. Hands down, no matter what else we print, no matter what else we make, hands down, until we invent the time machine, and then we can go back and watch things, in person. But until we invent that, hands down, it's the printing press because it opened up knowledge to the world.
That's right.
Once you print it, somebody else can read it. They can see and they can learn from what you done and from what this other thing happened. So that kind of knowledge is invaluable, and you
Invaluable.
can't
That's
lose
right.
it. Once you have it printed, that's why sometimes I say I gotta get this down. I gotta get it some form, some way. I gotta get down on paper. And then I may not use it then, but the idea is good, so I don't wanna lose it, so I'll get it down. And sometimes it's like, "Oh, I'm half tired, I'm sleeping." I'm like, "You know what? If it's a real good idea, I'll remember it tomorrow."
Yeah,
I'm too tired, I'm not writing nothing, I won't be able to read it tomorrow, but if it's a real good idea, I'll remember it tomorrow, and I'll write it
that's
down
right.
then. But yeah.
That's right. Yep. No, that's awesome. Well, James, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And we've got a couple of your books on the website already. We're going to make sure all of them are on there, and we'll have a way for people to go follow your website and follow your work. And so, James, thank
Oh,
you
thank
for
you.
writing your books
Oh, thanks
and
for
being an
having me.
inspiration.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have a new book out in a couple of weeks, it's my short stories. So I'm gonna have a
Okay.
collection of short stories coming out in a couple of weeks. So look forward for that. Something for Christmas.
Yeah. I was actually gonna ask you, I was like, "Is there any upcoming work that you're dropping soon?" And you went ahead and answered it.
Well, it's going to be called The Moth and Other Tantalizing Tales. And it's going to span a couple of years, what I've been writing for over 20, 30 years.
Okay. Alright. Well, we're looking forward. W
Yep. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Alright. Appreciate it.